Well, Lean tremendously affected the evolution of Scrum because the capstone of Scrum is the work of Takeuchi Tanaka, who were studying companies like Honda and Toyota. And what they were looking at was lean product development teams. And to them, the closeness of their working together reminded them of the game of rugby, and they called that Scrum project management. So that's where we got the name Scrum, and we try to emulate that as closely as possible. One of the things that's happened is because of all the software experience we've had, particularly with component architectures and test-first development and all these kind of things, we're starting to do more and more work in hardware development with Scrum, and we're finding that having the right component architectures, having the right interfaces with hardware components allows us to iterate on hardware components on a weekly basis. So we can take a car and update any component every week, and the car still runs, just like your software. So this, and also the involvement of the customer directly in the product creation. So getting really tight with the satisfying the customer. That part of Agile thinking, I think, takes Lean to the next level. It's still Lean underneath, but it kind of adds this additional tooling. Okay, well, Kanban is making work visible, measuring cycle time, and minimizing work in progress. And every good Scrum team does that. What Scrum adds is a team, a sprint, product owner, and Scrum Master. That's it. If you look at Kanban, if they don't have a team, but they just have silos, it's slow. So, you know, they say that the value of Kanban is you don't have to change your organization, but if you don't change your organization, things don't go any faster. You just see where the bottleneck is, okay? So in order to make Kanban fast, you'll see, Henrik Nyberg has written a couple of books on this, you'll see all of a sudden people are working as a team. All of a sudden they're having a daily meeting. All of a sudden somebody's managing the flow of the backlog. All of a sudden it starts to look like Scrum. The same thing on the Scrum side. You know, we've had the sprints, but one of the major goals, 10 years ago was just getting the sprint to deliver to production every sprint. But today, we're way beyond that. We're delivering to production every day. So now the stuff flowing into a sprint is, one by one, it looks like Kanban because the release is decoupled from the sprint. So Henrik has written a neat book called Kanban and Scrum, Making the Best of Both, and it describes all of this. But the best Kanban teams will look like Scrum teams, and the best Scrum teams will look like Kanban teams. That's what's happening. Yes. I began work with the venture capital group in 2006, and what they immediately found out that was Scrum was good for anything. As soon as they got engineering running fast, they said, now that works, but sales and marketing doesn't work. Let's do Scrum there, and finance too. And why don't we run the senior management teams with Scrum? So now we have companies totally Scrum. At the same time, it's spreading out into other domains, into hardware, into law firms, into almost anything you think of. And it just so happens that people working in schools in both the US and in Europe have adopted Scrum. The leading innovation that we see is eduscrum.com in the Netherlands. And what they do is the kids they spend 2 classes teaching them what Scrum is, how it works, how to do the estimation, and how to break down all their learning objectives into small pieces. Then the teams go to work just doing the Scrum process. Their grades go up 20 to 40% in the Scrum teams. They finish their semesters weeks early, and the kids have a lot more fun. So the people working in this area think that this is the future of education. And it turns out the kids are a lot easier to train to do Scrum than the adults. The adults have to be retrained, but the kids, it's a natural. Well, this was a French thing. The French guys at the TEDx and Aix-en-Provence came up with this video, and they showed that Scrum is all about hacking leadership. And it is really too, because what Scrum is about is breaking the work down into small pieces, breaking the teams down into small teams, breaking the timing down into small pieces. And as soon as you try to maximize production in that environment, then the management structure needs to reconfigure itself. So it has to be refactored just like a software program. That's what a lot of management teams don't understand this. They need to refactor themselves.